That's my actual hand moving that robot. No AI, no magic. And I'll show you everything that broke along the way there. At the end of the last video, I promised you that I'd make the robot move with a game controller. And today, I've done just that. Fair warning, we're not making the robot walk. Elbows and arms today. Walking is a whole other mountain. Quick update before we even start. The plan was to use a PlayStation controller. It turns out mine's too old, it has no Bluetooth, so Xbox controller it is. So the path is find a compatible controller, connect it to my Mac, install a little program called pygame, and test the controller's response to my thumbs. The controller feels like magic, but it's actually just a stream of numbers. Push the stick halfway up, that's 0.5. All the way, 1.0. 60 times a second yelling numbers at the computer. All my code does is catch those numbers and hand them to the robot's joints. And that's it. When I finally understood that, this went from something impossible to a spreadsheet problem. And I know spreadsheets. So far I've been driving someone else's robot. Now I'm going to build my own. So XML is a text file that describes what the robot's parts are and how they interact. For now, 2 joints, shoulder and elbow, and that's it. Why I'm starting so small is that a humanoid has many parts to understand. These 2 I can hold in my head. World body is basically the universe. Everything physical lives inside it. And these bodies are nested like Russian dolls. So you see the forearm sits inside the upper arms tag. And it makes sense, right? The forearm sits inside the upper arm. This geome type represents the shape of the limbs. And then the actuator is the muscles. And each motor here creates a control input, which we're going to come back to with the Xbox controller. So joints are what can move, actuators is what makes them move. And in episode 1, the humanoid flopped to the ground because nothing was driving the actuators. But now we will write commands to the actuators to move them. And now the actual hard part. I figured one program, read the stick, move the arm. How hard could it be? Here's what was actually happening. The program that reads the controller and the program that runs the robot both needed to be the one in charge of the Mac. And the Mac only lets one be in charge. So I split the controller half off on its own and ran it alone. And then the numbers moved. Two separate programs. One does nothing but read the controller, and one does nothing but run the robot. This exact split is basically how real robots are actually wired. And then the fun part, the exact same setup, I just pointed it at the big humanoid from episode 1 instead of my little arm. Going right, down, up, left, there's left, okay. Down, up, going up, right, left, oh, half a push-up. Interesting. And again, still not walking, on purpose, one mountain at a time. So milestone 2 done. I can move a robot with my hand, from a 2-joint arm all the way up to a 21-joint humanoid. But that humanoid flopping around taught me the actual lesson. Driving a robot by hand works for one little arm and falls apart the second things get complicated. So the next step isn't a better controller, it's giving the robot a brain of its own. One more thing, issue number 1 of the newsletter is out. It's my humanoid market digest. What's actually happening with home robots, prices, who's shipping what. Written by someone tracking this as a normal person planning to buy one. If you want to follow the market alongside the build, the link's in the description. So right now, I am the robot's brain. It only moves when I move. Next episode, we take the controller away. There's pre-trained AI models you can just download and the robot picks things up by itself. We're going to find out how that works. I'll see you in 2 weeks. And don't let your robot run away.